Sometimes people don't give you the ending you deserve. They disappear. They walk away without a goodbye, without an explanation, without tying up the loose ends that keep you awake at night. And when that happens, you're left holding the weight of unanswered questions. Was it me? Did I do something wrong? Why couldn't they at least explain? It feels unfair, doesn't it? Because your mind craves closure the way your lungs crave air. Psychologists call this the Zeigarnik Effect, the tendency of our brains to hold on to unfinished stories more tightly than completed ones. That's why a conversation left hanging, a relationship that ended without clarity, can feel like torture. It loops in your head over and over because your nervous system doesn't know how to file it away as done. But here's the truth you need to remember. Closure is not something they give you. It's something you choose to create within yourself. Because waiting for someone who left without explanation to come back and hand you peace is like waiting for a thief to return and give you back what they stole. It's not going to happen. And even if they did return, their words may not satisfy the ache anyway. When someone leaves without closure, they are telling you something profound, even in their silence. That they don't have the emotional maturity to face hard conversations. They don't have the courage to sit in discomfort, to own their truth, or to witness your pain. Their silence is not a reflection of your worth. It's a mirror of their limitations. You see, closure isn't really about the other person explaining themselves. It's about you accepting what their behavior already reveals. And this is where psychology helps us see clearly. Human beings show you who they are not through their promises, but through their patterns. If their pattern is avoidance, if their pattern is disappearing, then that is your closure. It does hurt because your heart isn't looking for data or analysis. It's looking for comfort. And comfort feels impossible when you're left with empty hands and 1,000 unspoken words. That's why it's so tempting to chase them, to text one more time, to beg for answers. But the more you chase closure from someone who doesn't want to give it, the more you condition yourself that your peace depends on them. And it doesn't. Here's where we return to that deeper truth. If you allow someone's silence to define your worth, you'll keep inviting people who leave you questioning yourself. But when you draw a line and say, I deserve people who can communicate, people who show up with honesty and respect, you begin to rewire not just your relationships, but your nervous system. Because when you stop chasing closure outside of yourself, you start soothing the storm inside yourself. And that is the most powerful healing you can give to your mind and body. Psychologists tell us that uncertainty activates our fight or flight system, flooding us with anxiety. But acceptance, even painful acceptance, calms that system. It tells your brain the story is finished. It may not have ended the way I wanted, but it ended. That shift is what allows you to breathe again. And maybe you've heard people say time heals everything. But that's not entirely true. What heals is not time alone, but the meaning you give to what happened. You can spend years waiting for an answer that never comes and stay stuck. Or you can decide today that their silence is the answer, that their inability to give you closure is not evidence of your unworthiness, but evidence of their incapacity. And in that decision, you set yourself free. Think of it this way. Sometimes people leave your life the way a storm passes through. Violent, sudden, leaving wreckage behind. But the storm doesn't owe you an explanation for why it rained. The truth is simple. It came, it went, and now it's your job to rebuild. The closure is not in asking the storm why it happened, but in realizing you survived it. And one more truth I want you to carry. When someone leaves without closure, it doesn't mean the story of your love, your life, your joy ends there. It means you now have space for something better, something consistent, something worthy of your heart. Sometimes what feels like abandonment is actually protection. The universe moving people out of your path because they couldn't walk with you into the future you're meant to live. So if you are listening to this and your heart is heavy, let this be the closure you've been waiting for. You don't need their explanation. You don't need their goodbye. You don't need their approval to move forward. You only need to remember this truth, that you deserve love that stays, that communicates, that respects you enough not to disappear when things get difficult. Their silence was their choice. Your healing is yours. And when you rise from this, when you reclaim your peace without needing them to hand it to you, you'll realize something powerful. That was the closure all along. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you enjoy these type of contents.